Hey everyone! If you've been keeping up with Durin leaks, you already know it's been chaos. But the newest wave of information just made everything even messier. And I think we need to actually break down what's happening here because the community reactions are just as wild as the leaks themselves. So, in today's video, we're going to talk about everything that's leaked about Durin. Let's get into it. Save up to 25% on Genesis crystals at lootbar.gg. To celebrate Genshin's anniversary, you can grab the all-in-one pack and the 6,480 Genesis crystals pack, normally $100 in-game, for just $72 on Loot Bar. That's 81 pulls, almost guaranteeing you a 5-star for your account while saving you $28. The process is super simple. Just enter your UID, select your server, and receive your crystals in under a minute. No password needed. Loot Bar uses official recharge channels, has hundreds of 5-star reviews, and partnerships with several big content creators that you probably know, so everything is completely safe. Loot Bar supports PlayStation 5 and Xbox top-ups. Also, don't forget that the double bonus for your first purchase on each pack has been reset. Click the link in the description to claim your extra discount. New users get an extra 10% discount, while returning users get 5%. Before we dive into the drama, let me explain what Durin actually is according to the leaks. He's a 5-star Pyro sword user coming in patch 6.2, and he's designed as an off-field support. Think someone who sits in the background applying Pyro while your main damage dealer does their thing. His burst apparently switches between 2 different forms, and each form does something different. One form has bigger area coverage but lower damage, the other has smaller range but hits harder. Pretty standard dual mode stuff. Now here's where things get spicy. Durin's got this whole Hexenzirkel faction thing going on. For those who don't know, Hexenzirkel is this witch organization that includes characters like Mona, Albedo, Venti, and Klee, plus future characters like Alice and Nicole. According to the leaks, when you run Durin with one Hexenzirkel member, he shreds 15% of enemy resistance to elements involved in reactions. With 2 Hexenzirkel members, that doubles to 30%. His signature weapon apparently also needs Hexenzirkel teammates to work at full power. You can already see the problem here, right? Faction locking is never popular. Nobody likes being told you have to use specific characters to make someone work properly. It's restrictive and kills team-building creativity. If Durin needs Hexenzirkel members to function at his best, that's a pretty limited roster right now. Sure, Hoyoverse is probably planning to release more Hexenzirkel characters down the line, but that doesn't help people who want to use him at launch without building around this specific faction requirement. Let's get into the resistance shred mechanic itself, because this is actually the interesting part. When Durin triggers Pyro reactions, he reduces resistance to both elements involved in that reaction. So, if he enables Vaporize with a Hydro carry, both Pyro and Hydro resistance go down. If he's setting up Melt with a Cryo damage dealer, both Pyro and Cryo resistance drop. This is way more flexible than just being a one-sided support. But here's what people are really excited about. The Pyro resistance shred means actual Pyro damage dealers can use him as their support. Characters like Hu Tao, Liney, or even Arlecchino would finally have a dedicated Pyro support option that directly boosts their damage. Bennett exists, obviously, but Bennett's value comes from attack buffing and healing, not resistance shred. Durin's doing something genuinely different here if these numbers hold up. The flip side is people immediately started comparing him to Xiangling, which is fair. Xiangling applies Pyro off-field, she's been meta for years, and she's completely free. If Durin's just doing what she does with some shred bonus, why pull him? For him to be worth it as a 5-star, either his Pyro application needs to be way better than hers, or the resistance shred needs to provide enough extra damage to justify the cost. Otherwise, you're looking at another situation where a free 4-star outperforms a limited 5-star. Now let's address the absolute mess that's been happening with leak sources. Different leakers are saying completely different things about his kit. Some claim his skill heals, others say that's false. Then there's rumors about healing being tied to his burst instead, or maybe it's constellation locked. The contradictions are everywhere, and nobody knows what's actually real anymore. People are wondering if Hoyoverse is deliberately feeding different info to different beta testers to catch whoever's leaking. That's actually a legit strategy companies use, giving each tester unique data so leaks can be traced back to the source. What I find funny is the community's reaction pattern. Every time positive info drops, everyone immediately says we're so back. Then contradictory info appears, and suddenly it's over. Then people start making theories to cope with the bad news, like maybe his burst has what the skill doesn't. Or maybe Constellations unlock the missing features, or maybe the leaker just mistranslated something. It's this predictable cycle that happens with every pre-release character. If Durin heals, great, he becomes a more complete support package. If he doesn't heal, he can still be valuable purely off his Pyro application and resistance shred. The real question isn't whether he heals or not. It's whether his overall kit provides enough value to justify using him over existing options. Healing would be nice to have, but it's not necessarily make or break for his viability. The bigger concern is the faction restriction. If running Durin without Hexenzirkel teammates means you're only getting half his potential, that's a design problem. Limited team-building options feel bad, and we've seen this complaint in other games where faction synergies become mandatory rather than optional. The difference between 15% resistance shred and 30% is massive, so players who don't have or don't want to use Hexenzirkel characters would basically be running a gimped version of Durin. Looking at potential teams, if you pair Durin with Mona and someone like Shield or Nouvelette, you'd get the Hexenzirkel bonus while enabling strong vaporize reactions. Throw in Kazuha or another Anemo support and you've got a solid comp. For Pyro carries, you could run Liney with Durin and maybe Venti for the Hexenzirkel buff, though that team structure feels forced. The problem is you're building around the faction requirement rather than building the best team for the job. Honestly, trying to make pull decisions based on these leaks right now is pointless. We don't have confirmed numbers, we don't have verified mechanics, and different sources can't agree on basic kit functions. Beta testing hasn't even officially started yet, and everything we're seeing is incomplete information that could change before release. Characters get reworked all the time during testing. Abilities get buffed, nerfed, or completely redesigned. Constellations get shuffled around. Nothing is final. My advice is treat these leaks as speculation, not facts. If you like Durin as a character and you're going to pull him regardless of meta performance, then none of this matters. If you're trying to optimize your account and make smart resource decisions, wait for official beta testing to start. Wait for multiple reliable sources to confirm the same information. Wait for actual gameplay footage with finalized numbers. Then make your decision based on concrete data instead of incomplete leaks that contradict each other. The only things we can say with reasonable confidence right now are that Durin is probably a Pyro sword user coming in version 6.2. He's designed for off-field support with some kind of resistance shred mechanic, and he has synergy with Hexenzirkel faction members. Everything else, the exact numbers, whether he heals, how his forms actually work, what his constellations do, all of that is still unclear and subject to change. Once beta actually starts, we'll get real gameplay videos, proper talent translations, actual numbers for his multipliers and resistance shred, and real testing with different teams. Until then, these leaks are more like entertainment than real info. And getting too attached to any version of his kit is just setting yourself up for disappointment when things change. That's it for today. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.